Alex Ansary here, coming to you from Dallas, Texas. At noon this afternoon, I was scheduled to be a guest on Russia Today. About an hour before I was supposed to go live with Elizabeth, a reporter from RT that invited me on about a week ago, about an hour before we were supposed to go live, the interview was canceled. The person that was going to be doing the interview gave me a number of different reasons as to why in two different emails. In the first reason why, and by the way, I was invited to come on to talk about transhumanism, the concept of man and machine merging. They saw my interview with Tom Horn of the Raiders News Network, and they wanted to have me on to talk about the dangers of man and machine merging into one. In the first email that was sent to me, she reported that she had to go on assignment for RT, and so she had to reschedule the interview for another time. And I responded, that's fine, we can do that. Then she sent me a follow-up interview. And that email, that was quite telling because her story had changed. In her second email, she stated that the producers decided to go with someone else and that I could perhaps come on in the future to talk about campaign finance reform or other things along those lines that had truly nothing to do with what I was supposed to come on to talk about. And I responded to her stating that that is fine. There's a number of different issues that I can talk about, but at this point I pretty much opened up and said I would rather talk about the larger picture that's going on the planet right now. The posturing, the staging of this next great world war that could well take place in the next couple of years involving China, Russia, and the United States. I've actually been talking about this for a long number of years, 3 to 4, since I've been doing Outside the Box. And I didn't get a response from that email, and it's possible that I could in the future, but I have some concerns about Russia Today and what its actual purpose is, and I suspect that in the week since I was interviewed to come on Russia Today, her producers that are overseeing these productions think they had some time to take a closer look at some of the things I've been saying the last couple of years. And I've been reporting on foreign troop drills within the United States. I've been reporting on the Chinese being given a large amount of land in Idaho, a technology center. I've been reporting on the Chinese being given a lease in Texas for a very vast amount of oil fields. There's a number of threats to our national security and sovereignty that are coming as a result of what the New World Order is up to, which is in fact more global than most of us are aware of, most people that is. And I'm here today to tell you that Russia Today is not what it seems to be. There's a lot of information out there about Russia Today being sponsored and created by the Kremlin, it being the brainchild of Vladimir Putin. And when you look at Russia Today and the type of people they actually have on there on a regular basis, Alex Jones and many others, you're looking at reality through the lens of it's just the West. It's just the United States. We have to stop the great Satan, the United States. Look at what a police state America's become. Look at how, and they actually exaggerate by far the police state that we do live in. We live in a police state, but we're incrementally getting higher and higher up the tier and towards dictatorship, towards something far worse than what we're currently in right now. And so it's Russian propaganda that is highlighting our not so best features and using it for their own gain. Now, I've been talking about this for a number of years, and I think they had some time to go back and see that I'm more interested in looking at global criminality. I'm more interested in looking at asking questions about 9/11, for example, that relate to why has China funded our war in the Middle East when China has the forensic evidence? They have the steel, they have the buildings. Giuliani had it shipped. The former mayor of New York, Mayor Giuliani, had the steel shipped to China in the days after 9/11. So whatever happened with 9/11, the inside job in this war on the Middle East, the United States did not do this alone. The Afghan people have been victims of genocide for a very long time. I'm half Afghan, and it's my responsibility to talk about these larger issues. Now, the United States is my home. This is where I was born. I'm an American, and I don't want to see America take the fall for the criminality that all of these leaders around the world have been involved in. Russia, China, the United States. They're all involved in stealing resources from the Middle East. This is not something that is new, and it is something that we need to look at. Now, the Russians killed well over 1 million when they invaded Afghanistan. You don't see RT talking about that too much. You don't see Russia Today talking about human rights violations in Russia. You see the finger being pointed at the United States. You see Alex Jones coming on Russia Today nearly every other week. You see people like Webster Tarpley. You see people like Wayne Madsen. You see people like Paul Craig Roberts. You see people like Daniel Estulin. I have interviewed all of these people and many more. I've interviewed most of these people before they went on Russia Today. So I know what Russia Today is doing. They're pulling out our dirt and they're showing the world and they're going, look at this filth. Look at America. Something must be done. We're the good cop in this good cop, bad cop scenario. About a month ago, massive protests were sweeping Russia. You look at the way RT spun that reality of what was going on. They are having headlines like, the Russian people, most of them don't want to protest. Most of them like what's going on, the way things are. It gets so absurd. They get these info babes to come on straight out of a modeling company with an ability to speak off of a teleprompter. It's literally not much different than CNN and Fox News. But it's pulling people in. It's pulling people in that have only been doing research for a couple of years. Some of the people that have been researching for multiple decades should know better, but I also think there's a reason why some conspiracy analysts and researchers have chosen to not go on Russia Today because they don't want to be helping the Russians and the Chinese out in their war on the United States. I think it's very important for us to realize that the New World Order, the globalists, whatever you want to call them, there's something going on. Even the Russians, they were with U.S. troops in Uzbekistan in the weeks prior to September 11th, 2001. So the Russians as well, I believe, had prior knowledge. The Afghan people have been the victims of genocide, rape, their villages bombed. Ultimately, we're looking at racism on a very large scale that most Americans, most Russians, most Chinese don't want to admit. If you look at China, Russia, and the United States, you see this pattern of not only a global surveillance society that's being pushed on the people, but you're seeing this war on terror. That is not isolated to the United States. You know, Elizabeth had Alex Jones on about a month ago, and they're talking about predator drones. We all know this is a major issue in this country. But what most people don't know is during the protests in Russia, many drones were spotted spying on the protesters, and the drones look identical to the drones over U.S. skies. And so there's something RT is involved in that is very sinister. And I believe that the producers are aware that I have my suspicions. And I suspect that the producers saw it as a liability. If they had Alex Ansari, who's half Afghan, maybe they would be concerned that I would speak out against the Russian crimes. Maybe because of the things in the interviews I've done before, maybe they were concerned I would talk about this larger plan to stage World War III. And I don't believe in lying or doing any cloak and dagger BS. I came out in the open in that email response and said I would really like to talk about this larger war. They had their opportunity to interview me. They chose to tell me two different reasons as to why I'm not coming on. And this is not a video where I'm bashing Alex Jones, but what we do know is that Alex Jones is a consultant to many different groups that are involved in creating conspiracy media, like Jesse Ventura's program, Conspiracy Theory. And we all know he's the point man where a lot of these producers go to, and they ask Alex Jones, who should we interview, who should we stay away from, and he gets a lot of attention. I'm not going to go deep into this Alex Jones conspiracy or anything like that, but it is alarming that now that we have so much information about China buying up U.S. land, being positioned to do these things, that he only touches on it to a point, and that he's on Vladimir Putin's very own network on a regular basis. And I'm starting to hear rhetoric. I'm not hearing truth. I'm hearing propaganda. I'm hearing about how it's the West. It's America. It's the United States. It's the great Satan. Yes, there are conspiracies. Yes, there's an elite. Yes, there's a Bilderberg group. But there are other countries as well that are involved in their own forms and techniques of controlling people, of raping people, of dominating people, of breaking up families. It's everywhere. It's global. And just several months ago, there was an announcement about a Chinese satellite that's been launched into space that actually went over the United States. Now, that's creepy. I believe in being compassionate. I believe that I will be safe doing what I'm doing, using my birth name, not being mysterious about where I'm from ethnically. I'm very open about that. I feel that based on the fact that I'm white and Afghan, I'm really talking about issues that are affecting the whole planet. I don't have a particular nationality that I identify with, or a creed or religion, only the human race. And I have love in my heart, and I want to see this country survive what is about to take place, despite all the killings, despite all the Afghans, people that look just like me, that have been murdered by U.S. troops. I still have this compassion. And I feel this compassion and the protecting nature in me wants to get certain information out there so Americans can prepare for the day when America could be occupied by foreign troops. And there's a lot of information to indicate that our government is preparing for a day where other troops have to be brought in, perhaps from China or Russia. There's a lot of evidence that suggests that preparations for the invasion might well be underway for some sort of counterattack to the United States if, for example, it were to go to war with Iran. And there may be some other conflicts that we may see flare up, like with North Korea and other situations going on, say in the South China Sea, where there's growing tensions. All this information is very important to understand because Russia today is spinning and crafting popular opinion. Now, what we don't want is to see the whole world turn on the United States because of some of the crimes that have been publicized. Now, when you look at torture and you look at rape and you look at these horrible things that have been done to the Afghan people, to the Iraqi people, it's not just the United States, the military and contractors that have engaged in these crimes. You also see the Russians as well. Again, you see China getting an oil pipeline deal in Afghanistan. You see 95% of the Earth's rare minerals being controlled by China. And so this is a global pillaging of the Middle East. And this is very important to understand. Russia today does not go out of their way to interview people from Afghanistan or people from Iraq. They may cover one or two stories about someone that was tortured at Gitmo, but the real stories on the ground are not being covered. And I think that if we really do care about this country, and we do want to see this country remain strong, and we do want to see our women remain safe in these challenging times that are coming to this country, we must show some compassion for the victims of war. I beg of you. You may not know them. You may not understand their language or the people in my father's country, but they need your love as well. They need you to stand up for them and to highlight the things that have been done in our name, highlight the things that the Russians have done, because if we remain silent, eventually the beast is going to be looking at us. It's just something that happens over time. When you have a population turn its back on the reality of women being raped and trafficked as a result of these wars and the devastation that's taking place, there's some bad karma that comes with that. And in my lifetime, I know, and some of you know, we will see this country's karmic return come to it. There is no question in my mind as to why Russia today hesitated to have me on the air. So that's why I'm making this YouTube video to all of you today, to raise these issues. And we all know about Adam Kokesh, Adam versus the Man. He was on Russia Today for a while and he was fired, and we have not seen Adam Kokesh speak publicly about his experiences at Russia Today. So all this is very concerning. All of this is very serious, and I hope you take this information and you continue to investigate what is really going on this planet, what is really going on with the plot to stage World War III between these countries. And of course, I hope you understand the need for us to heal what has been damaged in the Middle East. Without a doubt, There is far more going on right now than what currently meets the eye. Thank you for watching.